Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sportsbook Confidential. My name is John Sullivan, and I'm coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in sunny Seneca Falls, New York. And this little show here is to help you learn and grow as a sports bettor. Today we have a very abbreviated episode. I am on some very new medications, and they make me pretty nauseous, and the thought of me ralphing on a YouTube live stream is not appealing. So I'm going to get right to the main sporting event this weekend. We're going to talk about the NASCAR race, and I'm going to leave it at that. And next week, hopefully, I'll be in better shape and we can get right into March Madness. Interesting sports betting news today. DraftKings, which is our local sports book here in the Finger Lakes, just released its financials for the end of the quarter and the end of the year for 2020. Some very interesting numbers there. I'm not going to go into it, but if you look around on Twitter or some other news feeds, I'm sure you can find some information on it. They seem to have a tough year. Obviously, COVID impacted them a great deal, and they're still struggling to get a foothold in a lot of states. As states roll out sports betting one by one. Obviously, New York is not online, so that makes New York a pretty minor state compared to other states like New Jersey. But we'll have a much bigger show next week. I apologize for that, but I just want to get through today and give you something to sweat this weekend, and then we'll get back at it next week. So let's do what we always do and start by updating my bankroll, and my horrible 2021 continues. Starting bankroll, $325. We had a half unit each on Chase Elliott to win and Kevin Harvick to win. Elliott started on the pole, ran away in the first stage, won that easily, got kind of out of sync on a pit stop strategy. I'm not sure what happened there, but was coming back up through the field and spun out with about 10 or 15 laps to go. Just didn't have enough time left to catch the front. Kevin Harvick ran basically in the top 5 or 6 all day, just didn't have enough car to compete for the lead, I guess. I don't know really what happened there. I feel like those were good picks, but neither panned out. So minus 11 there for those two picks. We had Hamlin as the top Toyota. He finished third, but Christopher Bell won the race, his teammate, and was the top finishing Toyota. So did not win that bet. Harvick, the top Ford. Logano finished ahead of him. Joey Logano, for the second week in a row, with less than 2 laps to go, was the leader of the race and did not win the race. Must be very frustrating for him. Minus $11 there. And Alex Bowman, top 10, finished 10th. Saved me from a reverse sweep this week, so plus $10 to the bankroll there. If you do the math, it's minus $23 to the bankroll. So a new bankroll at a new all-time low of $302. Dividing by 30, as we always do, makes our bet size $10 this week, and I'm hoping we can't sink any lower as we go forward. So we're going to talk about the NASCAR race this weekend, which is the Dixie Vodka 400. I've never heard of Dixie Vodka. I don't know if it's any good or not, but I remember they used to have a Dixie 400, but I think that was in either Rockingham or Darlington. I don't remember. Back in the old days. So a little bit about this race. We have the races at the Homestead-Miami Speedway, which is a 1.5 mile oval. That is considered the kind of cookie cutter standard for NASCAR races. Intermediate track, it's called. When it's under it's a mile or less, it's considered a small track, and if it's if it's 2 miles or more, it's considered a super speedway. So this used to be the last race of the year. This track's only been around since 1999 in NASCAR, but it used to be the last race of the year and they'd have it in November. But I think they're trying to make the travel, save on travel costs and whatnot. So they're moved it up to this week. So if you look at, I'm going to show you what I usually do when I handicap a NASCAR event, and I'm going to show you the two sites I use the most. These are no secrets, but I'll share them with you for those of you that are looking for information. And this first website is called Driver Averages. You can't see the header on the screen there, but you can review drivers' history on individual tracks or certain tracks, or which teams have performed well at which tracks. They seem to get the setup right. And you can see here at this track here, Kyle Busch has an average finish of 3.67 and has 3 top 10s in his last 3 races there, and has led 17.85% of the laps he's raced there. That's very impressive. So you can see the drivers that have done well here. And then if I scroll down a little bit, bear with me here. Oh, it won't let me go any further down. But you can see it breaks it down by track size and by teams and whatnot. And let me go back to our split screen there. And so you can see Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Joey Logano have all recently won at this track. So that they have the experience, and that's there's another reason why that experience is very important we'll get to in a minute. And as I just said, Kyle Busch has 3 top 10s in his last 3 races here. Very impressive for him. Joe Gibbs Racing has the most team wins of all the major teams racing this weekend. So you might want to look at the Gibbs racers. Denny Hamlin is currently the favorite to win this race, and he's on the Joe Gibbs team. So is Kyle Busch. Harvick has the most wins on intermediate tracks in the last 3 seasons. So the 1.5-mile tracks, Kevin Harvick is dominant, more so than any other driver. I think Kyle Busch has 6 wins and Harvick has 8. So the reason why that experience is so important is there is currently no qualifying in NASCAR, and there's a new metric. And another website I use for my research, my NASCAR research, is jayski.com, Jayski. It used to be a part of the ESPN website. Before it was a separate website. It got bought by ESPN, and now they have since let the owner have it back. And he does an excellent job of coming up with all sorts of driver news and information about the race, what times, how much practice there's going to be, how much garage time there's going to be. And you can see, I'm going to pull down you can see right down here the weekend on-track schedule. You can't see the whole bottom of it, but there's no practice for this race, and there's no qualifying for this race. And they have what they call the qualifying metric. So until further notice, there's going to be no qualifying for races. There's going to be a metric based on total season like a 3-ingredient ratio of total season performance, last race performance, and fastest laps in the last so many races. So that determines who starts where, and what pit stalls they get to choose, which is important. If you're competing for the win at the end, your pit stall is very important. And that is going to lean heavily to the experienced drivers. Now, last week was a road course. I think that's kind of an exception. And that's a really tight road course for the NASCAR drivers. There's a lot of drivers going off course, as of course that happened to Chase Elliott. This week is going to be kind of the first test of who's got the setup right, because the overwhelming majority of the tracks are these 1.5 mile cookie cutter tracks, I like to call them. And whoever hits the setup today will be competitive in those types of tracks, and there's a lot of them on the schedule. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all shakes out. But the fact that there's no practice and no qualifying means that the more experienced drivers, I think, will have a big advantage this weekend. So we have, let's take a look at the odds before I just give up my picks and call it a day here. And you can see that Denny Hamlin's the favorite at 5-1, Kevin Harvick 5.5, Chase Elliott 6-1, Truex. Larson is 8.5-1. That's to me, that's kind of unusual, but it's a Hendrick car. But Kyle Busch and Joey Logano 9-1, 10-1. That leaps out to me as value. Obviously, Logano has won here before. Kyle Busch has won here before. Logano has been competing for the win on the last lap, the last 2 weeks. You have to figure that he's going to be competitive at the very least. Tyler Reddick has a top 10 here. Christopher Bell won last week. Alex Bowman is fairly competitive on a regular basis. And Austin Dillon all the way down there at 40-1. I don't know if you can see him. I'll have to scroll it down a little bit. There he is. Austin Dillon is an average finish position of 8th in this race. So he doesn't have any wins, but he tends to perform very well. I'm keeping that one in my back pocket. So I'm not going heavy into the props today. You can do head-to-head driver matchups, and you can do top manufacturer or stage winner or all those types of things. Not really going to do any of that today. I'm just going to go strictly with some simple wagers here. So let's see what we got, and let's pull them up for you. So my picks today, as we close out this short episode, Kyle Busch to win at 9-1, Joey Logano to win at 10-1, a half a unit each. I feel like those are very juicy odds. I would not be surprised to see Hamlin or Harvick win this race, but I think that these guys have just as good a chance, and they're getting twice the money. So I'm down with that. So I'm going to take Logano top 5 at plus 150. Hopefully he doesn't wreck, or his teammate doesn't wreck him. And then Austin Dillon top 10 at plus 150. As I said, he's averaged 8th place finish over the last 3 years. So hopefully he can pull that off for us and get us back into the win column. It's been quite the dry spell. So thanks for tuning into the short episode. We're going to have March Madness next week, and hopefully my medications will stabilize, and I'll feel comfortable doing a long episode for you. And enjoy the weather if you're having some nice weather, and enjoy the race this weekend. And we'll see you next time. So let's play the outro music for you, and let's get some winners. Take care, everybody.